Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new take with Michelle Petties and friends. We know that Michelle is a food story finder. She's a speaker, and she is the author of Amazon's best-selling book, Leaving Large. It is an amazing book, you guys. You got to get it. Michelle, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. As
Hey,
always,
Michelle,
yes,
you have to tell everyone too of all the podcasts. You're everywhere on these podcasts now.
I will. I will. Uh, thank you so much, Dr. Colleen Meyer, extraordinary moderator and a producer. Appreciate you so much tonight. So I just want to let you know that if I look a little like crazy right now or a little off, it's because I am a little off, y'all. And the reason that I'm off is I was just working all day today, and I lost track of time, and I realized I hadn't taken my walk. So I jumped up about 4 o'clock or so, 4:30, so I could go take a quick walk and be back here on time. And I lost my keys. I lost my keys somewhere in the dark on my walk. I don't know where they are. I got locked out of my house. So you see me, I'm in my t-shirt. I had to take off my sweatshirt. Thank God I have a good neighbor. Oh, thank you, Naomi Bundy, for letting me use her living room. So I'm on my phone. So we're just gonna do what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna do what we always do. We're gonna do some truth telling around why we eat what we eat. And we've got our nutritionist extraordinaire here with us tonight, Gina Cushenberry. Hey, Gina.
Hey.
Oh, you look like you might be frozen a little bit, or it may very well be my phone. I don't know.
Okay.
So hopefully our stylist Terry Riley will be joining us as well, and we'll just get things moving. We're gonna do. Oh, you know what? I see we have somebody saying hello. I have to put on my glasses because the writing is very small. I can't even see what
you have a Facebook user saying good evening, and then Ava
Oh,
had said hello, Michelle. She's watching from YouTube.
Eva, yes. So Eva, thank you for jumping on the call. Thank you, whoever else said hello, whoever said good evening. We're gonna, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. If you have any comments, put them in the chat. If you have any, I said questions, any sort of observations about what we talk about tonight, we want to make sure that you're able to have a voice about the discussion. So what we do on Sunday night at 7 o'clock, because it must be time for a brand new take. We address different issues that come up every day around why we eat what we eat. We're here because we're looking to tell the truth and raise our consciousness so that you aren't doing what I did for 42 years, which was eat too much of the wrong things for the wrong reasons and do it unconsciously. So every Sunday night, we have a question. We have a dilemma, and we just pull back the layers on the dilemma and have an open discussion around that topic in food. But I will say this. We might do something a little bit different tonight because, the book just came out. And I'm getting a lot of questions about the book. I'm getting a lot of questions about the stories. And I feel like that it's important to really find a way to interweave some of the lessons and the learnings and the questions around those stories. So, Colleen, if you will jump right in with our dilemma this week. And I don't know if it was a dilemma this week or if it was just a question. I think we're moving to this.
Oh, Michelle, hang on. Let me get into it.
Okay.
Let's see here.
All right.
And it's going to be interesting because I want to get Gina's take on it. It was, let me get there. This time of year proves one thing to be true. There are two kinds of people in the world, those who love eggnog and those who don't. What say you?
Okay.
There's a lot of questions, Michelle, that were a thumbs up on the eggnog. There were a lot of thumbs up. There was more thumbs up than thumbs down on the eggnog.
There were more thumbs up than thumbs down?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Year. That's that time of year, Michelle.
Right. Okay, it is that time of year. So we're gonna talk about eggnog. And one of the reasons I think that eggnog question is so it resonates with me so much is because I do come from an eggnog family.
And Michelle, real quick, I just want to say, I'm gonna let you know the comments are coming through because you can't really see them. Ava says yes, love eggnog. So Ava's going, yep, she's one of our love eggnog girls.
Right. So eggnog is one of those holiday treats that can really add up in calories if we don't watch it. And I do want to share this story around eggnog. That I am an eggnog lover. Love eggnog. Loved it since I was a kid, but I haven't had it probably in 2 or 3 years. Not anything, because it's gotten to the point for me where it's too rich, right? It's too rich, and it's not worth the calories. So what I figured out about eggnog is that over the years, over the past 40 years, before I got real clear about my food stories and why I was really binging on eggnog, so to speak, it had everything to do, it had everything to do with my original, the first time I ever had it. And I remember the first time I ever had eggnog. I was probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe 5 or 6. And I was in California. My grandmother and I were visiting my uncle and his children, which were my 2 older cousins. And they were 2 older cousins that I really admired and respected. And I actually wanted to be them. You know how when you're the little cousin and you have older cousins, the older cousins seem really sophisticated and like they're just all special and you just want to tag along with them. Well, that's how I feel about these older cousins. And so we were at their house and I saw one of my cousins come out and she had this little glass, and it was a little glass. I didn't know it was eggnog at the time, but it looked like milk. But I knew it wasn't milk because I could tell by the way she was holding it that it was something really special, and she was sipping on it. And I'm like, well, what's that? Right now I'm curious because I can see she's really nurturing this glass. And my grandma's like, oh no, she can't have any of that. And my uncle's like, no, she can have it. There's nothing in it. At the time, I didn't know that nothing in it meant not any alcohol. And so my grandmother was like, oh, I don't know if she can have any. And I'm like looking at her like, well, let me have some. Oh, Vicky has some, Bonnie has some. And so she finally let me have a little taste of this eggnog. Now, we know that the eggnog is sweeter and richer and creamier than milk, even though you might look at it from afar and it looks like milk. And I tasted it. And man, oh man, it was super, super good, right? It was good. But the thing is that when I drank that eggnog, the feeling that I attached to it was being like my older cousin, like being able to experience this special thing that my older cousin, who I admired so much, was able to do. And so year after year, what I really realized is that, drinking the eggnog became a habit, but every time after that, the feeling that I attached to it was this specialness that came from feeling like, I was grown and sophisticated like my older cousin, that just stuck with me over the years. So once I realized that I didn't need eggnog to feel that way, that I could just go back to that moment and feel that moment, and I could have something else that had a little nutmeg in it, that I could flavor up something and put some nutmeg in it, some little vanilla, and get an approximate taste to it without the calories. I didn't need the eggnog. I just need to know that it reminded me of this special moment. So eggnog or not to eggnog, I actually have a recipe for what I call mock eggnog. So if anybody would like my mock eggnog recipe and you're watching right now, go to the I Am Brand New Now Facebook group. I'm going to put it in the Facebook group. The only way you're going to get that recipe is join my I Am Brand New Facebook group, and I'll share the recipe with you. So that's the eggnog story, and that's if you think about it, that's how we attach memories to all sorts of foods. We go back to the first time we had it and how we felt the first time we actually consumed it. And that feeling is, and especially if it's a feeling of joy, is one that sticks with us throughout our full experience. So that's to eggnog or not to eggnog.
That is the question.
And so Gina, I do want to ask you a question about eggnog, by the way.
Sure.
Do you happen to have, or have you heard of any substitutions that people can use for eggnog? I'm still trying to figure out with this phone because I'm on my hand on my mobile phone trying to keep my head straight.
Yeah, there's always a substitution, Michelle.
There's always a substitution.
There's always a substitution. Now, I'm don't beat me up. I'm not an eggnogger. I'm not gonna lie. But to me, it has nothing to do with the calories, y'all. It's just not my thing.
Well, one of our Facebook people say they need some eggnog right now.
Oh man, yes, I know.
Michelle has talked it up. Yes.
Oh, see, look, here's somebody. We're getting recipes
advice already.
Yes, almond milk with vanilla and nutmeg. Yes. That's a way. That's a way to do it. Oh, I got a thumbs up from the peanut gallery right here. But you
can also use the coconut milk, I think. And they have the light coconut milk, which is a great substitute for, especially the one in the can. It's a little thicker, so that's a good substitute for something that you want heavier to have that density, opposed to the one that's in the carton, because there is a big difference. So I would say for this particular recipe, I would recommend the almond milk is awesome. If you want it a little bit more thicker and creamier, I would try the light coconut milk that you can get in the can. That's another option too. Yeah.
Light coconut milk in the can. Yes. And you know what I use in addition to that, to get like a little more texture to it, is I will get some of the Halo that Halo ice cream.
Low
calories. Where the whole pint is only 280 calories, right? Put that in there. And here's the thing, is that if we are intentional, right? If we are intentional about this, what we really want is the flavor, right? What we really want is the flavor, and what we really want is the feeling that we associate with the food. And if we can get something that is close to it, we can get there.
Yeah.
And you know, you're talking to somebody, man. I mean, in the old days, I could drink a half gallon of eggnog, right? And never give it a second thought, you know, because I would just keep going back for little glass after little glass after little glass after little glass, and it may very well be that, you know, you just wean yourself off of it, and rather than try to go cold turkey, instead of drinking. In the old days, like I said, I would drink that. Maybe I would drink 5 glasses. Okay, this year don't drink 5, just drink 3. You know, or drink 2, or just drink 1, and then substitute the almond milk and the nutmeg and the vanilla. Put that in the rotation, and after a while, you get used to it, and your taste buds change, and then that becomes your habit. That becomes the thing that you want. So we just we relearn. We relearn how we interact with certain foods over time. That becomes the new habit. And we just have to be really intentional about, what do I say? What do we say? How we want to look, how we want to feel, and how we want to show up. That's the thing. So
and I think too, it's like this time of the year, you know, there's attachment to lots of different recipes, you know, that have been passed down generation to generation. This is also, I mean, there's so many ways to still make those recipes. I take a lot of my grandmother's recipes and I just make a replacement, and you can change it and still make it really good, but you've cut down just a little bit maybe of the fat or the sugar. I'm not saying you eliminate all of it, but maybe you've just replaced one ingredient to make it a little less. But this is, I mean, eggnog, there's so many things that I think a lot of people have a story attached to that. And so being intentional, I think, is a key word throughout this whole time period as we get through the holidays into the new year, and making choices. So I would say, maybe you want that eggnog. Maybe it means that much to you. So choose wisely. What do you want? You know what I mean? Here and there, like making choices as far as like, I want the eggnog, so I know I'm going to not have the cookies. Maybe it's something like that for you,
Oh, I see this. I love this response in the chat. I want a new body for Christmas. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And when you say something like that, when you say that and you put it in the chat because you're writing it down, because you save for Christmas. Maybe, I don't know, Christmas is only a week away. I don't know if you can get a completely new body in a week, but maybe you're talking about next Christmas, but you know what you want to look like. That means you are visualizing it. That means that it is a goal that is tangible, and it is something that you can do. And when you talk about new body, that's something you can get excited about, right? So here is the thing. And I really kind of just like hit on it today when I was thinking about this, is that in order for you to keep moving forward and moving toward the new body that you want, and moving toward that new body in joy, right? Is you've got to know that new body is better than consciously know that it is better than the one that you have now. And that what you're moving toward is better than what you have right now. And if you know consciously, and you accept and you believe and you wrap your head around the fact that what you want is better than what you have, then guess what? You make the decision right now to get it. You don't wait. You don't wait till Monday. You don't wait till the weekend is over. You don't wait until after Christmas. You do it now, because let's just think about this. I think I said it this morning when I was in the group. If somebody was going to give you $5,000, right, is going to give you that kind of value, would you say, "Oh, wait, I don't want it right now. I want it 2 weeks from now. I want it a month from now. I want it you want it now, because you place a high value on having it." So this is what I say. If you place a high value on it and you know the joy of it, then man, oh man, grab onto it now. Oh, I see this. We have a Facebook user who's saying, the fear for me of having a new body and getting attention, it terrifies me. Oh man, you know what? That is such a great question. That's a great question. It's a great observation. And here's what I recommend you do. That's a lot to unpack in the few minutes that we have on this show. I would like for you to inbox me. I would like you to join the group. And I'll give you a link to my Calendly, or you can email me directly at iambrandnewnow@gmail.com, and we can pull the layers back on that. But I want to share with you just some top line insight about that. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, and it's natural and it's normal, right? It's natural and normal to have some hesitation, right? Hesitation about something that you have not done before. And when we start thinking about fear, the only way to get through fear is to face it. The only way to get through fear is to face it. And the important thing about being in the group is whatever you're going through, it is likely someone else has gone through it and can shed some light and some insight and show you some secrets and some tips along the way. And that's part of the growth. That's part of the work. And you just think about for yourself the things that you have that have created fear for you in the past, that you really didn't want to do, that you were hesitant to do, and you weren't sure about. Those things that you have worked through and come through on the other side. And you look back and you're like, oh my God, what was I afraid of? It is so much better now that I have this new understanding. So just treat it and look at it as an opportunity for new and greater understanding. Because the reality is, when there's some fear, when there's some confusion, when there's some hesitation, that means you are ready for a breakthrough. You are moving toward a breakthrough, and you can't get to the breakthrough. You can't get to the breakthrough that you're looking for without it. That's the thing. But you have to know and believe that the other side of the breakthrough is better than where you are now. That it has to be worth it to you to experience it and feel it, and continue to move through it step by step. Ooh, I love this. I love it. We have a date. We have a date, a deadline, and a goal from Eva. My new body will be on 9/20/22. 9/20/22. Let's anybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat. Let's affirm that. Let's affirm that with Eva. 9/20/22. That's her new body. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so. Oh, let me. Oh, Eva has the question. I'm trying to read the question, y'all. Oh. So, I just want to share a little bit with those of you who are watching. Eva's just put in the chat that she wanted to know if she should start her process, should read the books, or start the process. Or start the process as we read the books. And when I say we, I'm speaking to the fact that Eva purchased Living Large: The Stories of a Food Addict for herself and for her three daughters. So do it all at the same time. Do it all at the same time, because it is a process. And when I say all at the same time, in terms of moving in your journey, it needs to be really simple. Just a step at a time. Focus on one thing. Focus on one thing and build on that. And that's what we do in the group. That's what we do in the group. We take you through the process of focusing on one thing at a time. And then by 9/20/22, you're going to look back and you're going to see that you have a whole set of new habits all in place. But it's daily. It's daily changes in behavior. It's daily changes in belief. They don't have to be big steps. It just has to be movement. It just has to be steps. And I'll give you one little quick question. I know we're getting short on time, and I want us to get to Gina's recipe. But in the very first story in the book, in the introduction of the book, for anybody that might be watching that doesn't have the book or hasn't downloaded a free chapter, I recommend that you download a free chapter. You can go to livinglarge.com and download a free chapter. But I'm going to tell you what happens in that first chapter, and how this first chapter in this story is the basis of everything about changing your mindset and changing your belief around what you eat and why you eat it. Because there's so much focus on the what we eat, the how much and the amount and all of that before any of that can really fall into place. And Gina, I know you're a nutritionist. I have you here because the food is important. The food is so important. But we really have to unpack the why. When we unpack the why, it makes managing the what so much simpler. So the first story in the book is about my uncle. And my uncle told me years ago this story of how he and some friends stole a watermelon from a neighbor's garden. And when my grandfather, his father, found out about it, my grandfather beat him within an inch of his life. And when you told me that story, I asked my uncle, I would say, well, Billy, do you think maybe the lesson was supposed to be thou shalt not steal? And my uncle, who was 75 years old or so at this time, just looked at me and said, I don't eat watermelon. And y'all, when I recall that story as I was trying to finish up my journey, right, to get on the right path of my journey and stay on my journey, it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks, the truth of that. And the truth is this, is that my uncle's association with watermelon was so painful that he never ate that food, never again in his life, all because of what he felt about the food, what he believed about the food, the memories that the watermelon conjured up for him, the experience of getting beat so severely that he never, ever wanted that food again, didn't want to have anything to do with it. And so I thought about that and I said, the flip has got to be true. When we start thinking about the foods that we crave, the foods that we always have to eat, the foods that we want to eat, how we want to overeat, how we can sit at a table and say, all I'm doing right now is I'm just eating to be eating. I heard somebody say that yesterday. I'm just eating to be eating, but they didn't stop. And it had nothing to do with hunger. So I say to you, with that story, I was able, and you can too, get ahead of your cravings, get ahead of your dieting, get ahead of all of that when you start understanding what emotions you attach to certain foods and start to separate them. My uncle was never able to do it because it was too painful for him. But wrapped up in that story are some other things. One of the things that's wrapped up in that story is that he and some friends stole the watermelon. It wasn't my uncle by himself. It was he and some buddies. So think about, he was with his friends. That's why he got in trouble. I don't know if my uncle was the ringleader or not, but it was because of hanging out with his friends and their behavior around this watermelon got him in the trouble. We have to think about that. I had to think about that on my journey. What friends do I have that all we do is go out to eat? If I'm in looking for the new body that I wanted, I had to cut some of that back. I had to stop some of that completely. I had to stop being around the people that didn't support me on the path that I wanted for myself. That's thing number one. That's another thing. The second thing, it was summertime, it was hot. They stole a watermelon. Who knows? They might not have even been hungry. They might have just been thirsty. So how many times have we thought that we were hungry, but we were eating instead of drinking water? How many times have we heard if we would just drink water and satisfy our thirst, we won't eat as much? That's all wrapped up in that story. They stole a watermelon. You know what? They were looking for something to do. They were bored, right? Instead of going playing kickball or whatever games kids played back in the 1930s, they didn't do that. They said, oh, it'll be fun to go steal a watermelon. Let's do that. That's why my uncle got that kind of beating, because instead of eating for nutrition and nourishment, this eating was an activity for them, right? Stealing the watermelon and getting some water, that was just something fun for them to do. And then the other emotion that's all wrapped up into that is that beating that my grandfather gave him. My grandfather gave him that beating partly in, even though I wasn't there, here's what I know. My grandfather was a railroad worker and he was a church trustee, right? He worked hard. He worked hard to put food on the table so his family and his kids didn't have to want for anything. And so the notion of his son going out and stealing food, he was horrified. It was horrified. So let's just think about that when we think about when we eat and what we do with food and how we feel about food, right? Having plenty, having enough for anybody that comes to visit us, right? Being able to say that I'm not hungry or my kids aren't hungry, that becomes an expression of self-worth. So all these emotions are emotions that we attach to food, and it obscures the real reason for ever eating, which is for nutrition and nourishment. And we just have to sit and we have to think every time we put something in our mouth. Why this food now? Am I hungry or am I something else? And if this food will not give me the body that I say that I want, why am I eating it? And now I'm going to get off my soapbox because I lost control. So if there are any questions, any comments in the chat, please put them in the chat. Gina, do you want to share the recipe this week?
Well, I think we're gonna piggyback off of your mock eggnog and do a couple of some skinny holiday cocktails for adult beverage drinkers, and then you can leave the alcohol out if you don't like alcohol.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
I love the notion of the skinny holiday cocktail.
Yes.
Okay, so
a few of those up.
I'm sorry, what?
Just a few of those up, just show you how to make some easy replacements.
Yes.
Homemade, yeah.
So you know what one of my favorite skinny holiday cocktails is?
What?
It's cranberry juice. Well, they have the light cranberry juice with the 0-calorie ginger ale in a martini glass.
Oh yeah, that's cute.
In a martini glass. So that makes it festive.
Yeah, makes it very festive.
That makes it festive. That keeps it festive. And so I'm on my phone here. I'm trying to keep it together here. But as we're approaching the end of our 30 minutes, I just want to make sure if there's anybody that has any comments or questions in the chat, we want to address them. If you haven't downloaded your free chapter of Leaving Large: The Stories of the Food Addict, please, you can go to leavinglarge.com and download your free chapter. You can still go to Amazon, believe it or not, and get the entire ebook for 99 cents. I don't know how much longer that's going to be up there, but if you want to get the entire ebook, you can get that for 99 cents on Amazon right now. If you just want to order the book by itself, you can order it from Amazon. You can order from Barnes & Noble. You can order from your local bookstore. Please do that. Or if you want autographed copies like Eva and her daughters, you can go to leavinglarge.com and I will send out autographed copies for you. But I want to just make sure that if you have any questions about the upcoming holiday and what you might want to do to get in front of it and stay brand new during the holidays, that we answer them for you in the chat right now.
Hey, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to share real quick that you're having some your workshops that are coming up next year?
Yes, I do. I do want to share. Oh, thank you. Why do I always forget about that workshop? And the workshop is so cool. The workshop is so important. As I do want to share that starting at the end of January, I am going to be hosting a workshop to help anyone who is ready to discover and write their own food stories. And here's why writing and discovering your own food story is so important. It's finding, facing, rewriting your food story. For 42 years, I struggled with my weight. I was a yo-yo dieter for 42 years, and I gained and lost 700 pounds over the course of those 42 years. And I tried almost every diet plan out there. All right, I tried almost every diet plan. I tried the cabbage soup diet. I did high protein, low carb. I did the phentermine. I had liposuction. I did clinical trials. I did hypnosis. I did it all. Well, not all of it, but I did a lot. Right, I did a lot, and I would lose weight and I would gain it back. I would lose weight and I would gain it back. I would lose weight and I would gain it back. And it was a cycle. It was a cycle that was wearing me out. It was wearing me out and making me feel like a failure. It was wearing me out and making me just really question my own personal worth. And I looked back and I looked at what I did on all those programs, right? The first thing I did on almost every program was I went to what could I eat and how much of it could I have? That was the very first thing I did. And as I started to unpack my own thoughts and my own behaviors in the past, I looked at the fact that almost all those programs said drink 8 glasses of water. I never did that. All those programs said get 8 hours of sleep. I didn't do that. Those programs said to journal, to visualize, right? To keep a food diary. I didn't do that. But I was counting calories because I could still lose weight and I could follow the diet, follow the menu. I could work out a couple of times a day and I could get the weight off. Well, it became more difficult in my 60s than it was in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. The thing that made the difference this time was the writing. When people ask me, what's your secret? I know they want me to tell them something different. They want to tell them that I ate something, that there was a secret special food or the secret special something. Well, the secret sauce is in your own story. And when you sit down and you take the time and you go inside yourself and unpack all of the emotions, all the feelings, all the stuff that's silently driving your behavior around certain foods and driving your behavior around certain foods, it will shift. It will shift. Things will change. And I tell you from my own personal experience, the thing that made the difference for me and the thing that makes me know that I will never gain the weight back, I'm not worried about gaining the weight back, that I am joyous in this journey, is the fact that I uncovered my food stories. And the people that are selling, like the programs and all that, they aren't telling you this. Because this is a $70 billion industry that counts on the fact that you won't figure it out, that you will stay in battle and you will stay struggling. You can end the struggle when you take the time, and I will guide you. And it's, man, oh man, it is what I call intentional reminiscing, right? You're gonna come to face some things that are going to surprise you. There are going to be some things that you're going to be happy about. You're going to have some aha moments. But when you break the connection, between the food and the feeling, the food story is just a tool. It's a tool to allow you to pivot and move into new patterns of behavior that are going to keep you in peace and get you out of bondage to food. That's why this writing piece is so important. Do this writing piece, do this workshop, and change your life. Is that what you wanted me to say, Colleen?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I had it muted because I have people making noise. Yes, Michelle, that is exactly it.
That's it. All right. So if you're interested in the food story workshop, just message me in the group. Find me on Facebook and send me a message. Jump on my calendar, and I will share the details with you. And we'll get some food storytelling going on.
Hey, Michelle.
Gina, yes.
Yeah. I was going to say we haven't had Gina give her information yet.
That's what I was about to say. Yes,
we think alike.
Yes.
We have the same thinking patterns. Anyway, you can find me at Gina Trim Nutrition on Instagram, and you can also email me at GinaTrimNutrition@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Gina.
Yes, thank
Glad,
you.
glad to have you on board tonight. Glad to have you with the skinny holiday cocktails. Thank you for joining us. If you're joining us on YouTube, if you're joining us in the group, so happy to have you here. Thank you, Colleen. Appreciate you. And we'll see you. We'll see you next Sunday.